What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Now, guys, we're going to take a few minutes to talk about the abomination that was the Acolyte, which was mercifully canceled a few weeks back. The funny thing about this, guys, is that ever since the cancellation of the Acolyte, you've seen nothing but rage from the few people who were actually watching this show. And for some reason, they're misrepresenting themselves as more than what they actually were. I mean, if there were that many people who actually watched the show wouldn't have been canceled. It was canceled because of low viewership. Now, these people are in denial about that fact, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But it's interesting to me, guys, because they are going to everything else other than the fact that it was canceled because of low viewership to rage out. And I think what it is, right, is that these people are having a hard time understanding or coming to grips with the fact that there are many more of us who truly love real Star Wars than there are of kooks like them who accept this twisted, perverted, lame version of Star Wars. So they don't want to concede that. And of course, they're invested in the idea of toxic YouTubers and all of this stuff. So they are lashing out, right? And we have this article here that I find to be extremely hilarious, right? Where they're taking it to the level that they usually do, guys. And I want to read this. This is on inverse.com. And the headline says, Lucasfilm's cowardice is finally catching up with it. As the studio ignores the Acolyte, it puts the entire Star Wars saga at risk. Wow, that is a huge thing to say, that the entire Star Wars saga is at risk. Okay, let's see what they're talking about. Amanda Stenberg wasn't surprised by the Acolyte's abrupt cancellation, and then they get into what she was saying, where she wasn't shocked by this and all of this stuff. It was hateful, it was prejudice, and alt-right and everything. And the Acolyte found itself at the center of an anti-woke campaign. And Stenberg argues that echo chambers full of fanboys and trolls might have influenced Lucasfilm's decision to abandon the show. In other words, we pressured them into canceling this show. They took a knee, in other words. So you see where they're going with this, that they gave in to the demands of the toxic fandom. Okay, so going on. It says here, anyone who spent an extended time in fandom spaces is all too familiar with these echo chambers in the Star Wars fandom, especially. A vocal minority can feel like an overwhelming rabble. That's partly because these sects have been allowed to move unchecked amongst or against diverse stories for almost a decade. These sects, S-E-C-T-S, have been allowed to move unchecked. All right. Bruh, how you gonna check fans, okay? We have what we like and what we don't like. We have freedom of speech. We have the internet where we can say what it is that we like and what we don't like. Who's going to check that? And why does that have to be a sect? As if we are gang members. What sect you claiming? Though you set in the air, wave it around like you just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, what are we, Bloods and Crips up in here? So he goes on to say, the Acolyte faced the same backlash that plagued Lucasfilm's first earnest push for diversity, The Force Awakens. The studio was just as silent then as it is now, and there's no sign of that strategy changing anytime soon. Wow, they are really pushing that some regulation has to be made against the fans. The majority of fans, by the way. No one's saying that The Acolyte was a perfect series, nor should it transcend any constructive criticism. But Lucasfilm's choice to cancel the series outright rather than stand by its cast and crew, they act like no other show gets it. Look, every season, shows get canceled. I'd say the majority of new shows get canceled every season. They act like somehow they've been nailed to the cross, like they are the martyrs here. So Lucasfilm's choice to cancel the series outright, rather than stand by its cast and crew, address the show's flaws, and give it the space to succeed, speaks more to its own cowardice than it does to any sound business sense. Left unchecked, that could actually cause more trouble than the Acolyte ever could. Lucasfilm has long chased four-quadrant appeal. The Star Wars films, spearheaded by George Lucas, were designed as family affairs, and that instinct only doubled once Disney acquired the studio in 2012. Somewhere along the way, though, that spiraled into a general fear of risk-taking or of ruffling any feathers. All right, stop right there. This is the point that I was making on the last one, guys. We were told, quite recently, by the way, to go force ourselves, basically. So forgive us if a large amount of the audience decided that we were going to go force ourselves. But what we weren't going to do is force ourselves to like this bullshit, okay? We were shown the door and we went through the door, okay? That's all it is. It's not any big deal here. But even before Lucasfilm pivoted sharply to streaming after 2 box office failures due to terrible writing, the studio was incapable of standing behind any of its risky choices. So to them, risky means sucky movie after sucky movie. We're just going to take a risk that we're going to make a movie that sucks and that people will actually buy it. Now, some people do, and if you like that sucky shit, then by all means, like it. But it's not a terrible thing that you have people who say, listen, this doesn't do it for us. This doesn't satisfy our Star Wars itch, you know? That's the fans speaking. That's customers speaking. That's not a bad thing. That's what they're making it seem to be, though. Let's not forget its international campaign for The Force Awakens. When promoting the film in China, the studio downplayed or outright erased the importance of characters of color like John Boyega's Finn and Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron. That strategy felt especially craven after sects, once again, sects of the fandom called to boycott the film for alleged anti-white propaganda. Yes, really, it says in parentheses. Lucasfilm never took a stance against those comments. Yeah, actually they did. That's the reason why you're in the predicament that you are, because you chose to emphasize the negativity over the positivity in the fandom. And fandoms, we don't want to see that. We don't want to hear that, because you know what you did when you decided to do that? And this is what I've been talking about as only I can for all of these years. You looked over your women fans, you looked over your black fans, your Latino fans, your Indian fans, you know what I mean? Your Asian fans. You looked over all of that to focus on what you thought or what you identified as the toxic fandom. Well, excuse us, we don't want to hear that, guys. Well, all we want is good storytelling. But what you did in terms of marketing was you decided you were going to make a big deal out of the fact that Star Wars is for everybody. Well, if you weren't so busy ignoring everybody, then you would know that we already knew that. But if you're going to focus on the negative, if you're going to focus on the so-called toxicity, well, that's where your priorities lie. And that's the reason why you neglected your storytelling. And that's the reason why the majority of us rightfully pointed it out. And it's not bowing or taking a knee to us when you cancel something, when we tell you, your audience is telling you that it sucks. But once again, over the years, I have drilled this into you over and over again. Once again, when you ignore your black fans, when you ignore your white fans, your good white fans, your decent white fans, the white fans that are not toxic, that are not racist. Oh yes, they exist. And when you ignore every other branch of the fandom, then this is how you end up where you are. And you end up grasping for straws and excuses for why something like this would fail. You touted this as being so damn diverse, so inclusive, so groundbreaking. You neglected to come up with a real, satisfying, powerful story that would draw us in. Listen, man, your fans want to like this. We want to love this. We want something that is good, something that is satisfying, something that we'll be talking about the next morning after we watch it. That would be a win for us. You go under the assumption, number one, that the majority of your fandom is toxic, where you could actually be, that disrespectful to tell your fans, half of your fans, to go F themselves. You know what I mean? And that's what you do. You make the assumption that that's what it is, to the exclusion of, number one, a good story, and everyone else in your fandom who actually wants a good story. That would be a win for us. That's what we want. You know what I mean? We're just not out here looking to hate. And that is the assumption that you go under. Oh, you didn't even want to give it a chance. You just wanted to hate it, you know? And so now you get dumbass articles like this where they want to blame Lucasfilm and they want to blame Disney for giving up on something that wasn't working. Well, you think that it's just a matter of, oh, you just gave them their way, you know, and they're going unchecked as if anybody can do anything about us anyway. You know what I mean? What are they supposed to do? Round us up somewhere, put us in camp somewhere so we can't have freedom of speech, so we can't say how we feel about your bullshit product, you know? But listen, go on and do this for yourself, right? You can go on to, Google, right? And let's just say Star Trek style. Computer, why was the Acolyte canceled?
According to Forbes, it was canceled due to low viewership. This is likely to push back against the idea that this was done to placate toxic fans, who review-bombed the show and made an industry out of videos complaining about it.
Thank you, computer. So, there you have it. There is the inescapable, brutal truth. The show was canceled due to low viewership. So, inverse. So, all of you butthurt fans, look in the mirror and ask yourself, why weren't there more of you speaking out about this before it got canceled? It got canceled because of low viewership. That's business, baby. Never personal. That's just good business. It's not making money. It cost too much to produce, and it wasn't bringing back the returns that it needed to sustain itself. Okay, that's all there is to it. So guys, you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this dumbass thing that's going on where they're pushing back on the people, all of the people, the vast majority of the people who did not like this show or did not care enough about this show to watch it. So they're doing all of this crying and raging out and all of this stuff. But man, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to make these people understand. All we want is good writing. Nobody is against diversity and inclusion, for just like literally nobody is against that, but you have to give us really good, strong storytelling. You have to give us really good, strong characters that can cross over, you know, through these boundaries and these racial and gender lines that we put up and everything. People are willing to look past that. It's been done before. There have been many other shows that have had black leads or women leads or gay leads, and people enjoyed these things. It's the writing, stupid. It's the writing. The sooner you get that through your head and stop trying to project the way that you're doing, the better off we'll all be for that. Now, guys, you can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about all of this. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, you can give to the channel if you want to through the Super Thanks feature on each and every one of my videos. And I do thank all of you who have done that in the past. And I will catch you on the next one. Thank you guys for rocking out with me. I will catch you later. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.